Hi and welcome to Mark's Motivational Podcast. Another interview tonight with another great author I'm having the podcast, Marci G Cox. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Marci tonight on the podcast. So Marci, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I really appreciate it.
No, it's great to have you on. You have a fascinating story to tell about your books, how you wrote your books. I'd love you to share. Thanks a lot for coming on the podcast to share your story with me.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2018, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And so I did real estate before this and never thought I was going to be an author.
Yeah.
My kids were 1 and 5 at the time, and I needed a way to explain to them that mommy was going to have get rid of my boobs. And I decided not to have reconstruction, where a lot of women get reconstruction or not. And I couldn't really find any books that talked about mommy's going to look different.
Hmm.
And so I decided I just started writing more for a healing for myself, really. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to publish this book. And I told like all these women out there that were helping me through everything. And so I started writing it. And then I got my best friend's a freelance writer. So she edited it. I don't think she thought I was going to take it as far as I did. I ended up writing Mommy Has a Boo Boo, and it's
Yeah.
available on Amazon.
Hmm.
And it's my story, but basically what it says to the children, because it's my kids in there technically, that mommy looks different, but she's still the same person. She
Hmm.
still loves you. She can do many things. Right now she's going through having chemo or radiation medicine, so she can't really do a whole lot, but she can have snuggles, and she'll lay on the couch while she watches you guys play, but she's still the same person, whether or not she looks different. And that's really what my message I wanted to get across to people is that, because my kids know, like, mommy doesn't have any breasts. Well, I'm still your mom. I can still do things. I'm still the same person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so that's what I wanted to get that out there for that book. And then from there, I just started writing more. Like it was just coming all out and everything. And
Yeah.
my next book was the breast cancer GPS. I know I just put that stuff somewhere. Hold on. And basically, that is a journal to help women go through it. And it's questions to ask all your different doctors. So your oncologist, your radiologist, your plastic surgeon,
Mm.
a place to put um, your notes, like your health notes, because they always want to know, like, who else has had cancer, or what other, medical histories do you have? And then, so it's a great little book.
Yeah.
It's got tips and tricks through, again, surgery and all of that stuff. So I
Yeah.
ended up writing that one, which I thought was really helpful. And then, kids, you've got a small kid, so
Yeah. Yeah.
kids are intuitive, Mark.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
they have so many questions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so of course my kids, I mean, my 1-year-old had no idea what mommy's going through, but
Hmm.
she knew I couldn't hold her and things like that. But my 5-year-old just wanted mommy to be at everything. And so then I wrote this book, this journal. It's actually a discussion book. Mommy Has a Boo Boo, Now What? And it's a great discussion book because it's got questions, and the child could write, circle yes,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
draw in here. And
Mm.
basically, it's like, who is going to take me to school? Because they always think, mommy's going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if mommy's sick or, needs to rest, who's going to take, to dance class, to sports, whatever. And
Mm.
so this helps them have that conversation with the child
Yeah.
and say, hey, mommy's trying to get better, but in the meantime, so and so is going to take you here.
Mm.
Daddy's going to pick you up here. Grandma, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this can go along. This is obviously for a child that can read.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But still, I mean, you could still, even for a little child who's got, I mean, you don't have to go through every question, but
Mm.
because I do have that hard question in there, at the end, mommy, are you going to die?
Yeah.
Because you have to have that discussion.
Mm.
And I know some people want to sugarcoat it
Mm.
and things like that, but I've always been very honest with my kids. And, I mean, everyone's different, but I want to be upfront with them and say, hey, this is what can happen. We're going to fight as hard as we can and hopefully make it work. And Mark, this is my 5 years. I'm going on 5 years cancer free.
Wow, that's great.
So November 14th was my diagnosis day.
Yeah.
And it's scary because like, not, I guess scary is not the word, but we remember like all these dates. So like January 18th is my surgery day. So that's when I know I was totally cancer free because they got it all.
Yeah.
And so, so it's exciting for me. 5 years is a huge, huge mark in the cancer,
Yeah.
whatever. So I've written some other things. This is my fun one. It's the breast cancer word search.
Great. Yeah.
So this is not for kids. So I just want to get that out there. There is, not some nice words in here. But it's fun because while we're sitting there at chemo, I mean, most of the time I slept, but but this has been just like a healing thing for me. Is just this writing. And that's what a lot of authors, I mean, you're an author yourself, and either you get a story from somewhere, and my story just happened to be breast cancer. But then, so I'm getting it out there. But then my newest bookmark, I've got a boy and a girl version. Michael the Magnificent and Maggie the Magnificent fights back. And so this is about a child learning that they have cancer. And that is so hard. And my goal, I attempted to do a Kickstarter, and I don't know, for those that don't know what a Kickstarter is, it's a fundraiser and it's an all or nothing to really try to help that person raise funds in order to produce the book, whatever. Unfortunately, I didn't make my goal, and that's okay. I still publish these books because they have to be out there. I want these kids to see themselves. And so my goal through to the coming year, my illustrator's already on board. We want to make a total of 8 books. So we've got our Caucasian version. I'm going to do Black, Asian, and Indian. And it's the exact same story, but the character is going to be those characters. And I've already got the names of the new characters. So like, for example, I've got Wanda the Warrior, or Khaleesi the Conqueror, Wade the Warrior. I've got Tarek the Trooper. Because again, I want the kids to see themselves. Cancer doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate. And so, I even made, look at this. Look how cute. This was going to be my Kickstarter, but I made plushies.
Brilliant. That's great.
So cute.
Yeah.
So
brilliant.
cute, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe I'll raise some funds again because I didn't have enough money to do these, but I want to get these in the hospitals. I want to give these to the kids.
Wow. Great.
And you know what I did? So Mark, so October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And so I said to everyone, I put the word out. I said, if you buy a book and you let me know, I will donate a book. So Mark, I sold 37 books. I raised it. I totaled it to 40. So I am donating 40 books to my oncologist and to the hospital. I'm splitting that up. So I'm going to do 20 of the Mommy Has a Boo Boo. And then I'm going to do 10 each of my newest books.
Yeah.
And I'll give to the hospitals.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a great idea. Well done.
Yeah. And so, so it's really been rewarding. And I got my daughter involved too. We actually ended up, you can kind of see in the background, we did coloring books.
Brilliant.
So we've got like a magical creatures. And then we came up with pillowcases. So I have merchandise now. I have pillowcases and
nice one. Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, here, let me grab. I've got this whole little.
Yeah.
So we've got this merchandise here. This is actually my Hanukkah coloring book.
Great.
So we've got a pillowcase that you can color with fabric markers.
Wow.
And so you can't get these pillowcases on Amazon. You can only get them through my website. Unfortunately, I'm only doing US shipping now. I know we're doing this podcast in Ireland, but but you can get the coloring books on Amazon. And so it's been fun for her too, because as she was 8 when she became published author. And so it's nice to see, getting the children involved. And getting them to learn how to do that stuff too. I mean, I made her work with the illustrator and tell her tell the illustrator what she liked, what she didn't like, what she needed changed. And so it was great to see her do that as well. And so, it's been rewarding for her and now she's starting to make some money. I'm giving her some royalties, so she's excited about that.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, no, that's a great idea to get your children involved because I did the same with my daughter. So yeah, no, that's great. And how many books have you done in total, Marcy? How many books have you done?
Have I written total?
Yeah, written total.
I
Yeah,
think I'm up to 10 right now, and then if I
cool.
finish the rest of them,
Yeah,
I don't know, 10 plus 8, so 18 books
mhm,
maybe total once I get the others
yeah,
published.
that's brilliant,
Um,
Marcy. Well done. Yeah. And can I ask you as well? I'm going to share all your work on the
yeah.
show notes as well, like your website. It's probably the easiest, and your Amazon sites as well for people to find you, find your work, your great work. Yeah. So what I was going to ask you as well, like for you, it must have been so tough. I can't understand. Like it's hard to understand how tough you must have found to get the diagnosis. And how did you? How was the experience to tell your children at that time?
it was actually really hard. So the day I found out, we were at my oldest daughter's swim lesson,
Yeah.
and I said to my husband, I thought I was going to hear it today. Like I waited all day because I had gotten the biopsy the day before,
Mm,
and the nurse was like, "Oh, you'll definitely find out." It was on a Wednesday, so she's like, "You'll definitely find out on Thursday." And so I finally called like at 3:45 in the afternoon.
mm,
And she gets back on the phone. She goes, "Hold on, let me go check." She gets back on the phone with me, and you hear those words, "I'm so sorry you have cancer."
oh God. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're just like, I just went into shock. I was like, "What?"
Mm,
And
yeah.
then I just started like, my daughter hadn't gone into swimming class yet. So of course I grabbed her out. The baby's still in her baby carrier. Like I'm crying. Everyone's looking at me going, "What is wrong with this lady?"
Mm,
um, And I rushed out to the car and I kept saying to my daughter, because she's like, "Mommy, she's never seen me cry that bad." And I kept saying, "Everything's gonna be fine. Mommy's gonna fix this. We're gonna
mm,
fix this." And whether I was reassuring myself or my daughter, I don't know.
mm, yeah.
Um, but I can't remember when I exactly told her what was going on, but she knew something was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I don't remember from there. It was such a blur. I don't remember getting home.
Mm,
I just remember making phone calls. My parents were actually in Israel um, on vacation, and so I couldn't even tell my parents because I didn't want to ruin their trip, since
yeah.
that
Yeah.
was like the first time they've ever been there. So I avoided all their calls for like a week, um, and so that was hard because I tell my parents everything,
Yeah.
and so, of course, I've got an older brother, and so we had this whole thing planned out. So when they got back, I get on the phone, I told my mom, and my brother was there like at 5 in the morning. She's like, "Why is your brother here so early? And why are we calling you?" She's like, "What's wrong?" And our whole thing was gonna be like, "Oh, tell me about your trip, yada yada." And then I just started crying. I said, "Mommy, I have breast cancer." And of course, then she blames it on herself. And I
Mm,
mean, it's no one's fault. I mean,
mm,
just
yeah.
not genetics, but like DNA and
Yeah.
whatever your body.
Mm,
Um, so my parents are great. I mean, they ended up being, well, they were snowbirds. So, they come in for half the time in Arizona when I was living there. And my parents ended up staying like the whole year while I was going through chemo and radiation.
mm,
And so that was a big help because they would take my kids on the weekends,
right.
and
Yeah.
then it's just so I could focus because I had chemo on Friday and I was out the whole weekend. Um, but yeah, I mean, my kids were great though. Like I'd have the older one go to a class, which I know she was very scared about.
Mm,
But like I said, I was very open with her. And like we would go to things, and there's a lot of organizations in Phoenix that help with breast cancer and just cancer in general. So I would take the whole family. We would do family events there and everything. And it's like I don't want them to be afraid.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so of course they saw other people that were going through it as well.
Mm,
And actually my daughter goes to a camp, and I don't know if it's nationwide or if it's just based in the United States, but it's called Camp Kesem. And
okay.
it's a free camp for kids whose
Mm,
parents are or have gone through cancer. And it doesn't matter what type of cancer.
mm,
And so for 1 week, they get to go to this camp, no electronics, they get to be a kid. So especially if the parents going through cancer currently, like that kid can just go and enjoy themselves. And the kids they're all run by college students. And
Mm-hmm.
it's great. And so the kids can go up until they're 18 years old. So my youngest daughter, who's 6, is actually going to go for the first time this year. And it's great. I mean, so they've already got that connection with other children there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my daughter actually met a girl this year. Now that we've moved to Missouri, she met a little girl, and we're not too far from them, so they've already had play dates, and
Great.
so it's been a great thing, and so I just tell people to, talk to, and I don't know what Ireland's, what their healthcare is, but the United States. I just say go talk to your nurse navigator. I mean, there's so many programs out there to help people with any type of cancer, really. I know breast cancer is one of the big ones.
Mm.
But I got help with funding, like financially stuff, to help with paying bills and
Great.
groceries and things
Yeah.
like that. So
Mm. Now that's really helpful to share with the people that are
yeah,
listening as well. Marcy, thanks so much for that. And congratulations on releasing your great books as well for, to let our families know like the message of, you know, like what you went through to let them know how to cope. So that's great.
thank you.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Because, what I heard like before, people kind of, when something like this happens, you're trying to sugarcoat it and say, like as you said, oh no, it's fine, everything's grand. But to be open with your children it's better thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. And even as a cancer patient, we're still going through things. Like I said, I mean, I'm 5 years in remission, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still dealing with the after effects because I still am on a chemo pill for probably another 5 years.
Yeah.
I take a shot every 3 months, so I'm on that for about at least another year. And I mean, you definitely, for women, I mean, like they put me into menopause. So I mean, I was 40 when I was diagnosed. I'm now 45.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, I wasn't planning on having kids anymore, but I've seen women have babies
Mm-hmm.
even after going through everything. So that's like wonderful. I mean, I have a friend who just had twins. They did the IVF because they froze some eggs when they knew she had gotten cancer, so they froze the eggs and saved them, and she was able to get pregnant. So I don't want people to think of it as a negative either, like, oh my God, I can't have children anymore, because you just got to plan it out right,
Mm-hmm.
and freeze the eggs. Talk to your doctors and see.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some women that had to go do adoption too, which is fine as
Mm-hmm.
well. So you've just got to see what your body can take, and um what you can handle.
Yeah.
And but I just want people to be aware that we're never fully, it's never going away. Like the cancer's just in remission. It's kind of like it's hiding back there, like, hey, I'm not coming out, I'm good, like you're good now, and hopefully you'll stay good. But I know women, unfortunately, that have had reoccurrences. um so you just got to watch yourself and just be proactive. I mean, anytime I feel something or whatever, I go to the doctor and
Yeah.
just get checked out. and
Mhm.
and now I tell my kids, like, my daughter's starting to go through puberty a little bit. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be teaching you what you need to know, how to
Yeah.
check yourself.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
because I never really did that before.
Mm.
But that's how I found my cancer, Mark, is that I actually did a self exam in the shower, and
Okay.
I had found this lump. And
Mm.
little did I know that that's where I'd end up. So
Yeah, yeah. Very hard. Yeah. And can I kind of get back to the your book that it isn't
yeah,
released yet, the one about for childhood cancer.
yeah,
When
yeah,
is
yeah.
when is that out at the moment,
No,
is it?
so these are out. These ones are out.
Right. Okay,
Yep,
yeah.
these ones
Yeah.
are out on Amazon. I'm just going to be working on the next ones where I'm doing the Caucasian, or the black ones, and then the Asian and the Indian. So like
Yeah.
I said, it's going to be the exact same story.
Mm-hmm.
Just the character is going to be different. I'll have a boy and a girl version of each again. But yeah, these two are definitely out on Amazon right now. And this is great. So like, for example, I mean, this explains it to a child in an easy way
Yeah.
of, because kids are, I mean, do you want me to read this?
Yeah, that'd be fine if
Want
you're.
me to read it?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'll stand up.
yeah.
Okay, so I've got Maggie the Magnificent fights back, or Michael,
Can I
whichever.
just ask, your daughter done the illustrations, did she?
No, 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 no. I hired someone for this one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but oh yeah, apologies. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Nope, nope, that's okay. So I hired Ria Juna. She is from the let me say Philippines, right? Oh, sorry, Indonesia.
Okay.
So she's great. She was so great to work with. And because I'm a pain, like I needed like things like to perfection. And
Yeah.
I kept going back and I was like, no, we got to fix this and fix this. And she was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so okay. So not too long ago, I just wasn't feeling very well. I would sweat at night. I had bruises all over me, and my gums would bleed out of nowhere. Mommy and Daddy were worried about me. They took me to a nice doctor not too far from our house, and he ran a bunch of tests. Eventually, the doctor said I have cancer. But what does that mean exactly? He said there are bad cells in my body that are fighting with each other, just like some of the bad guys in my favorite movies. So I've got, the little cancer
Very
fighting
good. Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
But how did I get cancer? I asked. The doctor explained that it wasn't my fault and then gave me a quick science lesson. It turns out the cells, itty bitty things inside our bodies, don't always behave the right way. He says it's just like the bubbles in my bath sometimes, when they get a little bit crazy and fill up the entire tub. Even though they're not bubbles, cancer cells do the same type of thing. But why me? I asked. This sort of thing can happen to anyone, and we aren't 100% sure why, the doctor explained in a kind voice. What can I do? You're special, he told me. I think you have the superpowers needed to fight this thing. I am ready to fight, I shouted. There's no way cancer can mess with Maggie the Magnificent. The
Yeah.
doctor said there are specific things I will have to do as part of my big battle. First, they will put a thing called a port into my body, which will make it easier for the doctors and nurses to give me medicine. Not only this, but then I won't have to get poked in the arm so much. Yay! But what is a port? The doc says it's a tube that helps the medicine reach the bad cells faster, like a race car speeding on a track to win a race. I am brave. I can do this. I will fight back. Then I'll need lots of medicine, or power potions, as I like to call them, to help shrink the bad cells. I might get very tired and feel sick. Yuck! I don't like the sound of that, but I know it's an important part of the fight. The doctor said they might need to pump extra blood into my body. I never thought I'd have much in common with a vampire, but times change, I guess.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
I might even get to sleep at the hospital. This scares me a little bit, but I know the nurses are friendly and other kids will be there too. We'll have a superhero sleepover as we all fight the bad guys together. There's a chance that my hair will fall out, but guess what? Sometimes tough times call for a little creativity, like silly hats and wigs. I will fight back. I might need surgery since there are big bumps inside of me called tumors. Hopefully, the medicine will shrink these bumps. But if not, then the surgeons will get to join in the fight and remove the tumors with the best weapons they have, their superhero hands. I will be scared, but the people I love will be by my side the entire time. I will fight back. The doctor said I need to eat food that won't hurt my tummy and drink lots of water to keep up my strength. Cancer is scary for a little kid like me, but I know it's okay to feel scared. I might cry or even yell sometimes. That's okay too. I want to be like all the other kids. I want to play and go to school. Mommy says I will still get to do these things as soon as I'm feeling better. After all, my name is Maggie the Magnificent. I will fight back. I might have cancer, but do you know what that stands for? C, courageous. A, awesome.
Brilliant.
N, nifty. C, champion. E, extraordinary. R, rebel. Yep, that's me. I'm Maggie the Magnificent, cancer's worst enemy. So
No,
yeah,
that's brilliant, Marci. Brilliant.
thank you.
That's great, because it puts a positive spin on such a bad situation for children. Like So like that's really, really incredible. Thanks a lot for
Yeah,
sharing that on the podcast.
and I like the affirmation, you know, that says, "I will fight back," you know, because
Yeah.
it's so hard for these kids. I mean, especially the ones, you know, that are so small.
Mm,
And I mean, my daughter, we one of her good friends back in Phoenix fought leukemia. And so actually one book is going to be named after her, Carter Khaleesi the Conqueror. And I mean, she's in remission, but she was so, you know, so young when she had leukemia.
yeah.
And so her mom actually helped as well. And so, you know, the book's dedicated to her and a couple other kids.
Mm,
And you know, and it's just like they're so strong. Kids are so strong,
yeah. Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know, we've got to be behind them 100%,
Hmm.
and you know, give it all I can, and we've got to be there by their sides. I mean, obviously, I know I went through it
Mm,
myself as an adult, but as a child, I can't even imagine.
no, God.
So
Yeah, no, that's great. Like like hats off to you for putting them books out there for families
thank you,
that are unfortunate enough to have children that have cancer, you know. So so well done to you. I'm looking forward to sharing all about your books on the show notes as well.
thank you.
Yeah. And I can no, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming on. And can I ask you as well, before your unfortunate diagnosis, did you write before that? Did you were
No,
you
no, I never thought I would be an author.
no.
And it's just something that like, so I don't do real estate anymore. I actually retired from real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm focusing on my books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I don't know if it's more of a hobby. I mean, you know, I'm not, I'm not making millions or anything, and that's
No.
okay. My goal is to get it out there for the
Mm-hmm.
families, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
of the cancer patients and things. And I just want to help.
Mm.
Um, whether it's breast cancer or childhood cancer. Um, that's like that's where my passion is right now.
Definitely, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now that I'm in Missouri, I want to get back involved with the breast cancer community. That's my
Mm.
goal.
Yeah.
Because I was very involved in Phoenix,
Yeah.
and so that's what I'm going to be doing now.
Mm. Great stuff. No, no, brilliant. And can I ask as well, how long did it take you to write the books yourself?
So yeah, so okay, so 2018 I was diagnosed. I published Mommy Has a Boo Boo in 2020.
Okay.
And look, it's 2023 and I've gotten, what am I at? 9, 10 books already.
Or flying it, yeah.
So it just some of them just came like so fast.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, this one took a little bit longer. Just I had it ready to go, but then I knew we were moving. I was like, "Ugh, I need to take a step back because
yeah,
it's too crazy." Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just you know, maybe I'll write some more, but right now I want to focus on getting these out there.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again, like I said, I want to get it out to the hospitals. That's my big goal
yeah.
is especially for the kids. I've got stickers and bookmarks and things like that you know that I'm planning on making to go along with them. And you know, I want the kids to just to have something and you know give them some hope.
Definitely, definitely, yeah. And you were saying there earlier that you're gonna donate a certain amount of books
Yeah.
to the hospitals
Yeah.
every time you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'm donating a total of 40 books because breast cancer awareness was in October,
Yeah.
and so I'm donating a total of 20 books of the Mommy Has a Boo Boo book
Hmm.
to some my oncologist and some other doctors' offices. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to do 20 books of the newest Michael and Maggie the Magnificent. So I'll
Yeah.
do 10 of each.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and you know, give it to the Children's Hospital here in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
And you know, just
Brilliant.
hopefully it'll bring a little smile to kids' faces.
Right. And do you have them in any bookstores, Marcy, as well? Have you
Um,
done that?
The newest ones I do not.
Okay.
The other ones, a couple of them are in Barnes and Noble, actually in
Yeah.
Phoenix,
Hmm.
locally, and I've got them in a couple libraries actually.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I always tell people, especially in the United States, go to your local library, request the books because we as authors can't do that. But if people request the book so many times, eventually they're gonna want to go get that book. And
Yeah.
so, so I've got, you know, there, I think some of them are on Target online, Walmart online.
Mm.
Again, I'm just getting out there, and then I do a lot of events. So I just
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
like a breast cancer event in October, and then I've done some holiday events for the coloring books, and so I've been able to sell some stuff here locally as well.
Well, that's a great idea, like the events as well, because that's really, really helping more people get your message out there, for getting that your
Yeah,
message out there.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
that's
And I've
great.
and I've got a website, I've got blogs on there.
Mm.
So I've
Yeah.
kind of turned it into like, again, that's my passion. I've got some, like, I'm not really up to date on my blogs, but like I've done a video for newly diagnosed women, just kind of giving them some hope and like, hey, here's what I went through, and look, I'm not be able to like run a marathon, but I can still do some things. I mean, there are some women that can go and run marathons now.
Yeah.
It's basically like how your body can take it, and how much energy and things like that. And but even if you can't do the things you did before, you can still do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
kind of giving women some hope. So I've got some blogs on that. I've got blogs about how to dress for being flat, so giving like tips and some ideas, and so that's all on my website. It's floorpublishing.com, and I know you're going to post that.
Yeah.
um and then I've got some other podcasts I've been on. My merchandise is on there as well,
Oh,
and other places you can buy it and things. So I mean, definitely check it out.
brilliant. Oh, really, really cool. And do you find yourself, Marcy, that putting a lot of your energy at that really hard time for you in your writing, um, I'd say it was a really big help.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, again, that was just, writing it was healing for me.
Mm.
And because I used to journal, I journaled all the time beforehand. And for me to get my thoughts out, it's hard for me to like sometimes say it out loud. So for me to write it, it
Mm-hmm.
just helped bring those thoughts, to paper. And when I started writing it, I was like, oh my God, I have to turn this into a book.
Yeah.
And I said, again, my girlfriend was like, she didn't think I'd go this far. She's like, oh, I thought you were just going to publish it. And,
Yeah.
um, just, basically for yourself and the family. And I was like, oh no, like I made it. It's big. I'm like, I'm going all over. I'm like, I'm on podcasts in Ireland and Australia. And I'm like, I'm going out there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I never thought, it would take off like that. And it's really been fun and rewarding. And I guess my writing's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I never thought I was, I mean, obviously I have an editor, and I have a different editor for different things like that, different projects. But then I formed a group called Pad to Publishing. So I've been helping other authors. Yeah, I've been helping other authors become self-published. So um, I've got a website on that as well. And basically, like, I don't keep any royalties, but I help you just get the stuff together and become self-published and do it yourself. And, so it's definitely rewarding to see other people do the same thing that I've done.
Yeah, that's great, Marcy. Really, really great. And can I ask as well, what kind of books do you like to relax and read yourself?
uh, I like murder mystery, um, love stories, romance. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think I would ever write any of those books.
Hmm.
Um, because I won't do a pen name. I know some people have got pen names, but I
Mm.
want my name out there. I want people to know, like, hey, this is me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love all sorts of stuff. And I don't even know what I'm reading now, but I don't know. I'm probably reading like a love story or something.
Yeah.
Especially on the cold week, because now it's getting to be winter. Mark, I haven't been in winter in 23 years. Because Phoenix is like 110 degrees, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hot, and I'm freezing here. So I'm like sitting here in front of our fire, like, just reading and
Yeah.
enjoying stuff. And I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
so I'm getting
Yeah.
back into that.
Great. And can I ask you as well, what's your favorite kind of movie to watch? Your favorite movies to watch? What's the
My
best?
favorite movies. Oh, my husband and I love sci-fi stuff.
Great. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I love comedy, again, drama, love stories. I used to love horror movies. I can't do that now because I think now that I'm a parent, that scares me.
Yeah.
Especially the reality ones. I'm like, oh
Mm.
no.
Yeah, I don't like
Uh,
them myself. No.
I'm like, I've got kids, like, oh my God, you stay in my bubble. But yeah, I mean, we're well rounded. We really like a lot of things. I mean, we've got Netflix. We don't have regular TV now, so we've got Netflix and
Yeah.
um, all that stuff and just watch. And of course, obviously kid movies I'm watching because I got
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So we've got Disney Plus and so yeah, I mean, especially, it's been fun, especially during when you started your podcast and during COVID. I mean, we were all kind of stuck at home and just doing the
Hmm.
family thing and
Yeah.
really,
Mm.
hitting it home and watching a lot of TV and a lot of movies.
Yeah. What else can
And
I
reading
watch?
and writing.
Yeah, yeah. Are you all self-publish your books yourself,
Yep.
Marcy?
So I
Yeah,
self-published them all.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about looking, to find a literary agent, but it was just easier for me to self-publish because I
Yeah.
wanted it out there so fast. I'd actually talked to someone, and with the Mommy Has a Boo Boo, I had searched for an illustrator, and I found one actually local in Phoenix.
The
And I saw
illustrations are
her,
great. The
yeah,
illustrations are
I mean,
really
I
good.
saw her
Yeah.
post something, and it drew to me.
Hmm.
And I mean,
Yeah.
for my first book, it's definitely not bad. I mean, I know things, she's never written a book either. But I love it. And I talked to someone, he's like, well, we would have to change the illustrations. And I'm like, no, no, like this is what I want.
Yeah.
And so I knew this book had to be self-published because I didn't want anything changed.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
that's unfortunately that's what happens if you go with an agent, is that you write the story, but if you already have the illustrations, a lot of times they won't use your illustrations. They'll
Hmm.
like redo it all and I don't know. I'm like, that's not happening. So I wanted Brooke Foster was my illustrator for this in Phoenix. And I loved it. I loved just everything that she drew, just really drew to me. And I was like, you're gonna be my illustrator.
Yeah. No,
So
it looks really good, really well. And I loved your new book that you've written for children, unfortunate children that have cancer. Look, the way it's worded is superb. Really, really good.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
good.
no, I'm proud. I'm proud of every book I've written. I
Mm,
mean, you should be as an author. I mean,
yeah.
I know people change their covers all the time and improve things and stuff. And I mean, I definitely worked a lot on this book. I mean, there were things I changed in it many times, like because I didn't know. I did things backwards on the
Okay.
first book. So I wrote it, I hired my illustrator, and then I was like, oh, I need a Library of Congress number. And
Mm,
so there's so much that I learned from this
yeah.
book.
Yeah.
And someone's like, well, why don't you write another one like Grandma Has a Boo Boo? And I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, just change the name when you're reading it. I'm like, I'm ready for the next book.
Mhm.
Um, but but you learn and you live and you learn and you know what to do on the next books and things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. I'm still learning every day.
Yeah.
So I
Mm.
I'm on Crystal Swain Bates. She's actually one of my mentors. I've been on her site, I guess, since 20, really since 20, not 2019, 2020. I've taken a lot of her classes. She makes over 6 million. She's one of the first Black authors.
Okay.
And she wrote because there wasn't a lot of stories with Black characters. And she became really well known and gives classes and helps a lot of people. And so she's definitely one of my mentors. And I probably would not have written all of these books without her help. Like I didn't know how to make a word search book. I
Hmm.
didn't know how to do journals because I've written just just regular journals. This one is a warrior's journey. This is for any type of cancer, and this is a reflection journal actually. So you can date it now, in 6 months to a year, you can come back and maybe your answers have changed. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Great stuff.
so it's like I wouldn't have known how to written any of these without her help and knowledge. So she really, really, I've got to give her a lot of credit. Um,
Yeah,
So, you just got to go out there and find people to really help. And that's what I did. And like everyone on the site, we all help each other too. We don't hold back. We don't hold back the secrets, because we want everyone to win. And every story is different. So, I mean, someone may not like my breast cancer book, but they might like a different breast cancer book because that's what calls to them.
yeah.
And that's
Gotcha.
that's what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Mm. No, it makes so much sense, Marcy. We're always learning. And isn't it funny that when you start something off, the different avenues it opens up, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight and sharing all your great work. And I wish you all the success going forward and congratulations on all you do.
Thank you, Mark. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you having me.
Yeah. And before you go, would you mind just giving, if you could talk to people about motivation to keep themselves motivated in what you've done, what advice would you give them?
You mean as far as like writing books
Writing
or
books and yeah, writing
yeah,
books. Yeah,
just
yeah,
just do it. I mean,
yeah. Hmm.
I've got friends, they're like, I have this story and I want to write it. And I'm like, just write it.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I tell you, the title of Mommy Has a Boo Boo, that was not the title of the book.
yeah.
That was not my original title. I
Hmm.
think my original title was Mommy Has No Boobies.
Okay.
And so, so it's like you got to work at it anyway. It's like, I mean, you've got to get it edited, but get it on paper. That's really your first step is getting it on paper and then go from there. Um, and if you want to get it out there, just focus on it and say, hey, next year I'm going to publish this book and do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just do
yeah,
it. Don't be afraid. Whether, I mean, there's people out there that, just have written books just for themselves or their family members, but guess what? They're still an author,
yeah. Exactly.
still wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid. That's all I got to say. Just try it. I mean, who knows? I thought this book would be my one and only. I was like, oh, I'm gonna write one book. I'm done. Look where I'm at.
Yeah,
9, 10 books later.
yeah. Brilliant. Yeah,
I was like, what? No way.
yeah,
But it happens. Like it's been fun. Um, and who knows? I mean, who knows if I'll write more or I mean, you
yeah.
never know. You never know what the future is gonna hold.
Exactly. No, that's great advice. Thanks very much, Marcy. And do you have a system when you write? Just one more question. Like, do you kind of have a system where you write a certain amount of words a day, or what way did you do it, or did it just all come to you?
No, I just kind of wrote it like on my phone. I've got an iPhone, so I have
Yeah,
that notes
mm,
app
yeah,
or whatever.
mm,
Like I just would write in there. Um and then like I'd go back and then I'd get on the computer and
mm.
just whatever and then yeah, it doesn't matter how many words a day, just whatever. If I was in the mood or if I thought of something, then I would write it down.
Right, right,
Um, and then you kind of put it together and you're like, okay. And then, so once you write it, I mean, really the first step is writing the story,
mm-hmm.
then editing the story. And then once you edit it, then then you kind of figure out what kind of pictures you want, because then where to place them. And then that's where it gets all, techie and all
Yeah,
that fun stuff.
that's when fun
Um,
begins. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's more work than people think,
Mm,
but it's rewarding as well. I mean,
definitely.
I've known, just to kind of quit real quick, like I met a woman on one of my Facebook groups, and I've told this story a couple times, but her middle child, was so afraid of his mom losing her hair, and I'd mentioned the book, and I didn't say I was the author of it. And she goes, "Oh my God, I got that book. We read it." And I said, "Why? I wrote it." She goes, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "I would be happy to do a story time with your family." And so we did. We set it up, we Zoomed, and we did a story. And her son, you could tell how appreciative he was. And he, like, once he found out I wrote it, he's like, "I know my mom's gonna be okay because you're okay. And you fought it. And look, you wrote this book." And so he's just like, it helped him. And I said, "Hey, I lost my hair. Look where my hair is now." Um, and so like we had that conversation with him and his siblings, and I think and she said afterwards, she goes, "That really, really did help." So little things like that, like I know that I'm helping somebody. And that's really what it comes down to, is that I can help someone, and that really warms my heart.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So
because like it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier on about like being open with your children is very important. Like, you know, not to hide things away from them because that could end up worse in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, no, that's great, Marci. Thanks so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure
Oh,
talking to you.
absolutely. So yeah, check it out. I know, like I said, Mark's gonna post it, but
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram as well, Marci G Cox author on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can find me at Marci Greenberg Cox author. And then my website is Floor Publishing. It's FLOR publishing.com. So hope to see you all there and say hi if you find me. I'd love to chat with you.
Great, Marci. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. So that was Marci G Cox on the podcast. Absolutely brilliant podcast. It was delighted talking to Marci today. So join us again next time for another podcast. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks again, Marci.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, Mark here. Thank you for watching another episode of my Authors Tuesday podcast. I recently published a book of children's stories called The Adventures of Larry Lamppost and Friends. The book began life as bedtime stories I wrote for my own children. If you'd like to purchase my book, follow the link in the description box below. By buying my book, you are also supporting my podcast series for authors, which is giving a voice to writers in Ireland and across the world.